We out here, Kahumana Organic Farm in Waianae, where I've been staying at the past 6 weeks. For the next 6 weeks, I was here last year. I'm gonna come back next year. Inside the Waianae Valley, here on Oahu, welcome and much love. Yo, so a lot of people have been asking where I'm at, what I'm doing, where I'm staying, and that's what this video is for. This video is also for people who are interested in Kahumana, this organization out here, people who want to know more about Waianae and Oahu, and those of you who just want to know a better living situation, better possibilities, because I've had an incredible time out here, having an incredible time, and this organization is just really cool. So let me explain. Right now, we're on the farm here, one of 2 parcels of land, each about 20 acres. It's a Sunday, so production's off, people are chilling. And we have behind us, which you can see a little bit, is a village of people who live here and work here. And then, I guess that's kind of a way to describe it. Across the street here, there is a housing structure for basically people who need it. So, and there's also Autistic Learning Center over here. So there's a lot going on in kind of a small area. Yeah, basically Kahumana is a non-profit. There's also a cafe over here that has awesome food. Kahumana is a non-profit with the goal of helping the most vulnerable members of society. So the poor, the homeless, right? This is a homeless project or a housing project. Rehabilitation, help people get work over here, feed them, feed the local community with good organic food. We're just so cool, so much, helping autistic people or people with various issues. It's just such a dope spot. Here's the bus coming by. If I wanted to go into town today, don't want to do that, right? So before I go a little deeper into my experience living in Kahumana, I want to talk about Waianae a little bit. I don't know Waianae that well. I'm not from Waianae, but Waianae and the west side, really cool, real beautiful place. It's got a reputation amongst white people and haoles or whatever of being unsafe and you'll get robbed and stuff like that. That's not really true, and that's kind of a race thing. But what is true is that Waianae is one of, if not the most densely populated still by local native Hawaiian and local native Hawaiian culture. And definitely people want to keep it that way to an extent. So there's an air up front of this is like, don't come out here unless you have a good reason to come out here. And I think coming to Kahumana to serve and help the local community is a good reason to be out here. Because you can just come out here and rent something. There's the issue of gentrification, outsiders coming in with money, hiking up prices, sending people who grew up here, locals, have to move to the mainland because they can't afford to compete with the sort of money that's coming in. So that's kind of fucked up, and I just wanted to throw that caveat before you even listen to my experience out here to say, hey, you shouldn't necessarily come out here, right? This area is not for everyone. Maybe I'm contributing to that as well. I'm happy to be out here, though. I'm happy to help, so that's why I'm here. What brought me here specifically is I wanted to work on the farm. I wanted to work with the food, learn more about the food system, participate in the food system. Not just because I love food and I love good food and I want to help, but also because it's fun. I'm an athlete, I want more athletic stuff. I want more athletic work. And another reason that I'm out here is the lifestyle. One of the coolest things about this place, and this is how probably humanity used to be for the majority of the time, is I said it was a village. So there's woofers and there's interns or apprentices. There's full-time employees, the cafe staff, and the autistic helpers, whatever I don't know the right word for that, but it's really cool to work with your neighbors and play with your neighbors and be friends with your neighbors and party with your neighbors in the weekend, or that sort of a thing. Also, by the way, across the street here, this is the military base. We're on the frontier of the United States facing Asia, right here on the west side of Oahu, the furthest western. So they keep chemical warfare here, and supposedly there's nukes here as well. And you can actually hear bombs going off across the mountain range at night. It's pretty eerie stuff. So this is actually a likely spot to get nuked. just not because of civilians, but because of this base. If someone was to target actual US, like this is very likely spot, a threat from Asia. Anyways, go from there. I like that though, because it makes the moment more enjoyable, where it's like all the shit going on in the world right now. It's like, let's make the most of this right now, make a difference in our way. Anyways, the village atmosphere, I really like that, and I wouldn't go back to anything else in the long term. Not necessarily at Kahumana, because there's other places that have intentional communities, but the idea is that's just a more normal and healthier way of setting things up. It's actually not that dense also, if you think about 35 people for 20 acres, when you have like 1,000 people in a, tiny little apartment building, and everyone's all sectioned off from each other and not necessarily friends, not working with each other. You don't know your neighbors necessarily. That's pretty whack, and this is a lot more normal. You go into the cafe and you sit with people, it's just like, it's very, very social. It can be even immersive, feeling like it's hard, it can be hard to get away and think, which is what I'm doing right now at times. And also why it's so dead out here on Sundays, like people need to go and do their own thing as I wander around here. Let's talk a little bit about the farm experience, because that's been my experience. So there's a few ways to end up here, and for those of you who are interested in doing something like this, one way, fixed it. All right, for those interested in coming out here, one way is, for instance, applying to the woofing program, and it's not for everyone, different stage in your life, and not everyone would be accepted. You have to be very hardworking and ideally pretty socially adept as well, because you're managing the relationships of living in a village and need to be cool with everyone. And some people struggle with that. It's a lot of work to just it occupies a lot of mental space working with so many people. But anyways, the woof program, it starts at 6:30 or 7. Chores start at 6:30 a.m. and then break for breakfast usually around 9, and then back to work usually around 10, and then that shift goes from 10 to 12:30, and then a break at 12:30 until 3, and then from 3 to 5:30. So 3 2.5 hour shifts. That's 4 days a week for the woofers. Friday is a half day, 2/3 of a day, I suppose. No pay for that. Food, three great meals a day, or good meals a day, with lots of local stuff that we grow, and a cool place to live. And then from there, some people become apprentices, and they're paid a stipend and have slightly more responsibility, and working on certifying people for various things and stuff like that. How I ended up here is, I came here for the Magic Pro Tour last year, and I was staying with my buddy Sean Pottinger, and I told him my intention. I didn't even know this place exists, but I described something like it. And he's like, yeah, there's a place, Kahumana. So I came out here with a friend. At first I tried calling them on the phone and saying I wanted to volunteer or woof. They're like, nah. They're like, nah. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go out. And I met one of the founders, Father Phil. I mean, a lot of this is his vision. And hit it off with him, and he invited me to stay. So I came back after I went to the Big Island for about a week, and was like, wow, I need to come back and stay here longer. So I just showed up this year to I didn't even mention this, they do retreats here. They do have yoga retreats, and there's yoga going on and stuff like that. Airbnb, personal, solo, bed and breakfast people. So I just showed up for the bed and breakfast, basically, start off paying money, and then start off showing up to the farm shifts. And I go to every shift generally except the morning one, but pay money also for my food and some of the board as well. But that's an example of how to get your foot in the door, is just being helpful. If you're contributing work, sweat equity, and money, people will appreciate that. So having a lot of fun, and it feels good just to contribute. It doesn't feel bad to pay money to work for free. On the other hand, it actually feels great. It feels even better to do that. So the experience is work a lot outside, and be very social, and eat good food, and play with your workmates, and go to the beach in between the evenings. Again, it's intensive and it's hard, and people work really hard. Got chickens, got goats, and various things, but it is a nice experience, and I wanted to share it with you. I'm not going to go into the village and show the buildings, but go ahead and walk around. This is the orchard over here. We got a little temple. Coming to the temple over here. Okay, so one of the things, the main takeaway from this is not like I'm here and this place is perfect and everyone should come out here, but to get you to think about a different paradigm of how to set up a society or a community. And some people try to do this and fail because it gets kind of culty and religious and weird. And that's one thing that's really cool about this place as well, is it's not, there's no like required meditation or required religion, and it's not isolated at all. Like, it's easy to get into town, so it's not at all culty, and that can happen for some people who try to set up communities like this. But just the idea of living on land with other people and working with them, it's just such a great arrangement. I mean, one of the things, this is a small thing to explain it, is you can use your phone. You don't really need to, though. You can go knock on someone's door. You can walk to their place, right? Or just see them in the cafe. You don't need, I'm using my phone right now, obviously, but you don't really need as much of this technology. I'm more immersed in real life relationships, which is a lot healthier and cooler, and it just feels better, and it's more fulfilling as well, just to be part of something and work and contribute. So I see myself, like I said, coming back to Kahumana, but not necessarily Kahumana, but similar places that have a mission, that are involved, farms that are involved with food, that are not necessarily communal living, but have this sort of village set up. It's just hard to go from this back to regular society, America and so on, where everyone's so isolated and everyone's so lonely, really, like really lonely. And I think that a more village type society really solves a lot of those problems. Now, there's challenges to that. I could go into more detail, and really I should have my friend or our tour guide, should record our tour guide Rachel on some of this stuff. But there's obstacles, there's limits to living with this many people on land. Like, government doesn't want you to do it because I'm not sure if they want to control, or I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories, but it's hard to set something like this up. So it's a pretty special thing, and not everyone can do it, but we can. We're out here, and it's pretty cool. So hope you found this interesting and useful, and I encourage you to get out there and do something different and live something different, and just show you what I'm doing. Again, I'm going back to normal society or whatever soon, travel around and compete at pro magic events. I don't know how long I'm going to do that for. This might be my last year really doing that intensively, so figure it out, and go stay in some other cool places and share everything that I learned with you. So let me know what you think. Holler in the comments what you think. If you're from Waianae and you want to mention, correct me if I'm wrong, that's cool. If you're from Oahu and want to correct me, that's cool too. If you want to come out here again, it's something that you have to apply to do. So it's not for everyone. Again, it's actually probably not for most people. Chickens, what up? Yo, peace, much love, speak soon, see you in the comments.